A manager at the Immigration and Refugee Board said to me, "We should go back to the good old days when we had slaves."
I've done a total of 37 years with the RCMP. I never got a promotion.
It is an environment that is so unjust. I was hospitalized because of that stress, just thinking of going to work.
Meanwhile, my white colleagues were receiving promotion after promotion, while myself and other Black colleagues were sitting there stuck.
There's no space for healing. There seems to be no space to even discuss racism and discrimination on the job because that is shut down as well. So what do? We go inward, we get sick, and then we retire with sickness. And then we retire at the lowest paid salaries. And then we retire broke. And then we retire broken. And then we retire, and that's it. We retire as nothing. We retire as no one. We retire as if we weren't even there.
There are new revelations tonight of widespread discrimination at the highest levels of Canada's public service.
A secret federal report reveals entrenched racism in the Privy Council office.
An internal review has found that Canada's human rights watchdog discriminated against its own employees.
A significant finding that the Canadian Human Rights Commission, the federal body whose mandate is to protect equal opportunity, discriminated against Black and racialized employees.
We have a breaking story to tell you about this hour. CBC News has learned that Black members of the civil service, the Canadian Public Service, both current and former members, have launched a lawsuit against the government.
The suit aims to represent tens of thousands of employees alleging decades of anti-Black discrimination.
Specifically, that they faced discrimination in the hiring process and went up for promotions dating back to the 1970s.
This is a major development, a significant, a landmark case that has implications for organizations and institutions across the country.
It's endemic. The Prime Minister has already admitted it. The Privy Council has admitted it. The House of Commons has admitted it. The Senate has admitted it. But no one has done anything about it. We've got reports going back 30, 40 years documenting systemic racism and discrimination and abuse. And we keep on getting these reports and these mandate letters. At the end of the day, they're meaningless because the government has not taken the necessary action to remedy this problem.
In 2020, the Black class action lawsuit was launched against the Canadian Federal Public Service, which includes 99 departments and agencies, on behalf of over 45,000 workers seeking $2.5 billion in compensation for decades of anti-Black discrimination.
The Canadian government is now on notice. It cannot claim to be a global leader in human rights while discriminating against its own right here at home.
The Black Class Action Secretariat built a movement through the Coalition Against Workplace Discrimination, uniting workers, unions, and advocacy groups across the nation to combat racial injustice.
The Black Class Action Secretariat are seeking justice for Black Francophone Canadians.
The Black Class Action Secretariat has filed an official complaint with the UN Commission for Human Rights.
Canadian Human Rights Commission is being called to task. A coalition led by the Black Class Action Secretariat has filed a formal complaint with the international body that accredits human rights organizations around the world for discriminating against its own employees.
We're talking about real harm to real people that's been going on for decades and that could have been prevented.
We demand change. We call for concrete action to dismantle the systems of discrimination that oppress us. We want inclusive, equitable workplaces where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
This means appointing a Black Equity Commissioner, adding Black people as an employment equity group, as the government promised to do, and finally settling the Black class action and Indigenous lawsuits.
The BCAS has been instrumental in achieving historic gains for Black workers in the federal public service. Thanks to their relentless advocacy, the number of Black executives has more than doubled between 2020 and 2023, rising from 99 to 207. The fastest increase in Black leadership within any 3-year period. In addition, the BCAS secured a $50 million fund dedicated to mental health and career development, providing critical support for marginalized workers. Anti-racism secretariats were also established across the public service, creating institutional frameworks to ensure voices previously silenced are finally being heard and represented.
We are naming Black people and LGBTQI+ individuals as designated groups under the Employment Equity Act. This is historical.
Despite acknowledging the harm done to Black workers and taking some steps to address it, Canada is doubling down, fighting Black workers in court and arguing that workers should rely on the same systems that harmed and failed them, like the Canadian Human Rights Commission for redress. Now, more than ever, we need national community support for this class action, which carries widespread implications, not just for Black workers, but for fairness and justice in every workplace across the country.